I was reluctant to do this video. I actually wasn't gonna go near it. But sometimes, you see things in your own personal life and situations unfolding, and you think maybe me talk about it will be helpful to people who go through similar. Just never know. This is more about school drama, things like that. So my daughter's going through something at the moment, and it's not really pleasant. But I have confidence in her that she can handle it. She knows she can come to me, which she does. But what's interesting with her, for instance, is I get to see her growing and reacting in ways in which, similar to how I would, but I'm more of a ball in a china shop. Like, I just don't care, but that rubs off on her. And she's becoming sort of wiser as well, so she can handle situations. And like, for instance, she used to hate me sending her text messages that were like long-winded. Like, if they were long, she used to say that to me before, like in the past, like, that's too long. I'm not reading that. But now apparently she does that to people too. She can be very articulated and want to express herself. So yeah, I just get to see her really being confident on her, standing up for herself. But sometimes it's like you look and think it's not right. You shouldn't have to go through these things. But the reality is, when you're a good person and when you're confident in yourself, you're independent, that becomes a bit of a threat to people. People who are not themselves, people who have to hide who they are to feel confident, to feel part of something. So often what happens is you'll have people that come against you in groups. And then they start to act like like I said, they're like the big shots that are confident and things like that. And they'll cause drama. But for me, it just shows a reflection of where they are at in their life. It shows an immense weakness. So people acting or posturing are strong, incredibly weak and vulnerable. So there was a situation, like, I'm not going to go too deep in my daughter's personal situation, but there's situations where, there's a couple of people, maybe they laugh, just ridiculous, you just think you're so pathetic. But personally, when I was hearing it, I thought, how lame are these people? But so my daughter's just being herself. And maybe you'd say, she's a bit whimsical and things, and but she's just enjoying herself. And they're trying to laugh to make her feel bad about whatever she's doing to enjoy herself. And it's just that she carried on anyway. And it's like, exactly. Like, not being funny. She's minding her own business, doing whatever she's doing. It's not hurting anyone, but you want to try and make it seem like she's the stupid one. The reality is, and this is a reflection really, because I know some of these lunatics will not. I find it strange. So one of these people apparently said to my daughter that they found my social media, and I was like, my social media. I said, right, okay, what do they expect to do with that then? Do you know what I mean? Like, if anything, they're going to see I'm intelligent. I don't put up with shit, and I'll make them look stupid. So why would you even go looking for that? It doesn't make sense, because I'm far more direct than most people are. So you're not going to find anything you want there. And you'll find the connection between me and my daughter is incredibly strong. So what were you trying to target? There's a bond there that's unbreakable. So what you're jealous now of someone's connection because they've got a good relationship with their parents? All these things, and it'll be triggering. People are weird. So, my daughter didn't want them harass it, like following or whatever. So I just blocked them. I was like, what's the name? I'll block it. And I just blocked them. Now, people can circumvent that, of course, but it's like, how lunatic have you got to be to go following someone's parent? Like, what an idiot, And that's straight away what I thought. And there's little things that I say to my daughter, which I think, it's important. Like, if I talk about it now, it might help other people. I give her life lessons, even at a younger age. It's important that she opens her eyes before people take advantage. So, like I say to her, like, people are still growing, though, at that age, so they will make mistakes. It might be immature, all those things. But if someone disrespects you, and they try to use something personal to come against you, then they've already shown you who they are. So people people later on, they'll act maybe they need you, maybe they have an argument. So you have people that come against you, they try to team up, and then they're not the best of characters in the first place. So they'll naturally have an argument with each other somewhere, or have an argument with someone else, and then they'll feel vulnerable, isolated, lonely. They're going to want to feel that someone cares about them or still some sort of significance in their life. They know you're a good person, so they're going to try and prey on that. They'll try and come back, even though you've just mind your own business and you've got on doing your own thing with your own friends. You don't owe anyone anything, and it's important you check it. You recognize the character of people as they show it. So don't fall for that. So even if it's relationships that have ended, it's like, how is someone reacting after that? Now, sometimes people can behave a bit negative, but it's really to hide in their feelings. You have to understand that side. But if it becomes bitter and personal, it's like they've shown you their character. So adjust your life accordingly. Don't put people on pedestals and waiting for them to come back when they're showing you that they're not worth your time anyway. All these little things. So effectively, like in her daughter's situation, her friend group sort of like splintered off in two different directions. Some are loyal to her, they have fun. Others have gone off gossiping and trying to create drama. And it's just really sad, isn't it? I try to explain to my daughter, this is schoolyard stuff. Like, I understand that school is politics. You have to find a way just to get through the experience. But one of the things I said to her is, don't allow people to derail you, like, because it's your last year at school. So, like, you've still got your grades to get and things. Now, I don't pressure her with grades, but it'd be a bit sad to derail your grades because of pressure from other people, Just let the noise exist. You don't lose sight of what you want to do, And then I'd make the point as well, like, when school's finished, you've got the big world to existing and thriving. And these people have to find some meaning and significance in their life, because if they're just like negative and they're just trying to cause problems, that only gets you so far. And in a closed environment like school, maybe they feel important. In the wider world, they're gonna have to find a way to get on, and it's not always gonna work that way. If they're having problems there in that environment because they're just entirely negative, they're trying to cause conflict. They'll cause conflict in every environment they're in, so they're not going to thrive too well. And what I will say on a side note of that, not necessarily specific to that circumstance in any way, but who knows? People who sort of take pleasure in like substances and all sorts of things, and they might make it look like maybe you're boring if you don't do those things. The important thing to reflect upon that is when you look further in life. So someone at a younger age and make it seem cool. But if you actually look forward, you fast forward maybe 20 years, you'll find a lot of those people, they never grew up, or they've got mental health issues, or even they end up taking their life early, or something happens, they're in prison. It's usually those sort of people who end up with the problems in life. And yet they'll act cooler, but they'll act like they're cooler at a younger age. It's like, you was troubled at early age. You're troubled throughout life, but you never healed because you was never transparent and honest with yourself enough to heal. So you didn't allow yourself to be vulnerable. So you decide to try to affect other people and be negative. So if you see that early on, you just realize they're just troubled and just leave them to it. You don't owe them this, you're sacrificing your growth and your journey. So yeah, people might turn around and go, you're boring. It's like, great. Okay, I'm boring to you, but you're not my people anyway. And you'll watch those people, they do absolutely nothing with their life. So what do they think? You should just join them and be a waste of space. It's like, that's literally what it comes down to, doesn't it? So yeah, and there's some people, one of these people in specific said, I am spiritual. People see some of my videos, I do tarot, I do all sorts. Even after I did a video the other day, I was like, about spirit helped me with like a blessing. I talked about raindrop blessings. Off camera, after I finished, I asked spirit directly, did you assist me with this? And I got the Two of Cups, which was beautiful because it was like a beautiful like bond between me and them. It's love. It's like they're looking after me, looking out for me, So I've got a beautiful connection to my guides, the angels, and all sorts. And I know one of these other people, they are, I shouldn't really talk about it, but they literally have done satanic stuff. So so it stands to reason they have entities around them in their energy and causing and they're one of the negative people. The reality is, once you go down that path and you've summoned shit and you've gone wayward like that, your life's going to be shit because you're already doing things with the dark entities and things. It's going to be really hard to get rid of them once you've embraced them in your life. So good luck with that, because you've already got people who literally lose their minds and do all sorts of shit. Someone that's already doing that shit, it doesn't bode well. Personally, I don't think someone that does that, I wouldn't expect to have a long life. And I don't say that. No, I don't say that in a way to be like horrible. It's just not going to happen, is it? If you've gone down that path, I can't see it, and that's just sad. Because don't take joy and fun and enjoyment in something that's so dark and twisted. Because literally, you're dancing with the devil. You're dancing with the wrong side. So, of course, someone like that who literally knows that they've done wrong, because they'll feel it inside of them. They'll have this immense negativity that's brewing and this frustration and this I can only assume all those things because it stands to reason. They're going to then try and bring other people with them, because people don't like to do things alone, especially when they're vulnerable. They don't like it. They want comfort. They comfort in numbers. Hence why they will target my daughter sometimes and try to point her out and do all sorts of shit, even though they're supposed to be her friend. But they've shown you the character, so don't worry about it. And like I said to her, it's funny how it takes people in numbers to try to come against you because you're so confident on your own. I think that speaks volumes anyway, doesn't it? and she's always been herself. She's always been independent, whimsical and things. So she does it even with the weight of life and the pressure from others and the negativity that gets pushed on her. She doesn't allow that to deplete her of her innocence, her independence. And those are the things that I keep ingraining in her. I will always invest in her in that way. Never lose that light in yourself. People will always try to dim it, and they'll try to make you small. They'll always do that in life. But it's important that you see yourself for who you are. And, effectively, the memories people will have of her are positive. So when you're around deeply negative people, maybe for a moment you might get manipulated by them. But what will happen is over time, you'll start to feel the same way they do. And you think, I don't feel happy. Why? And I'm not happy around these people. And then you start reflecting and thinking, when was I happy? And it'll be when you was around the positive people. The people maybe you've took advantage of. The people maybe you've tried to joke about. You've tried to dim their light. That was your light source. That's the energy that you was trying to be attracted to. And that's why sometimes their name is on their lips. Because they can't get away from that. They're attracted to it, whether they admit it or not. That's why I say to my daughter, like, I wouldn't even worry about them. Like I say, I'm far more like born in a china shop. So like, she might have a message she wants to send people, and she might show it to me just to see what I think. And I'm like, well, I would remove that and tell them to go and do one. And I'm like, I start going on a bit of a rant, to be totally honest. I'll be like, yeah, just tell him not worth your time. I've got nothing to say to you. I don't put up with people that disrespect me. But of course, it's politics at school, so you have to sort of like get by to a degree. But yeah, that's what I would be like. I don't give many people second chances, very rarely, because I just think if you've shown me you're full of shit, then you're full of shit. I wish you well. Hopefully you heal, but you ain't healing around me. I ain't got time for that crap. So that's the thing with me. Like, I don't care. You could have 20 people gossiping about me, or 10 people, 20 people, like trying to spread lies, try and do this, or try to make me feel small. I'll still walk on my own. I'm chill. I don't care what people think of me. It's irrelevant. That doesn't mean that's true. What does that matter? It's just that's perceptions. If people are gullible to listen to someone's like view of someone, and then you get an impression of them, and you haven't even took the time to even talk to them yourself, that's just shallow and naive anyway. That's just ridiculous. So your impression of that person is based on what they've told you, but you haven't even had a conversation with them. At least be big enough to at least go that far to figure out whether that's true. Makes sense, doesn't it? So, yeah. So like I say, people could say all sorts of shit about me. It doesn't make it true. Talk to me, and then you get to hear my side of events. And then you can form an opinion. And even then, I couldn't even give a shit. That's the point, though. I know I'm abrasive, and it's like because I don't care. I don't care if people are like on my side or against me. It's irrelevant. It's noise. I don't like. I've said that to my daughter though. These are the sort of things I say to her. Like, I see it in her, and I said, one day you're just not going to care. You're genuinely not going to care. At the moment, you want maybe this relationship, or you miss this person, or you want that, or you just want to keep the peace. I said, eventually you're just not going to care. It's not your problem. It's not up to you to keep trying to make everything like fit. It's not for you to try to hold on to everything and keep a memory like everything's going to be perfect again. It's like things come to an end. You just have to accept that life keeps evolving and changing. And there's no point keeping things that want to leave. That's one of the hardest parts, because you attach that as your happiness. But if someone or something that they don't want to be there, and maybe if it's a group, or people want to sort of like start saying negative things about you when you previously trusted them, it's like, just believe what they're showing you. You thought better of them than they are, and it's like, at least you learned the lesson now. I'd rather learn the lesson now than carry on this charade. And that's the sort of things I'll say to her, is like, just watch people. If they disrespect you, then they've shown you enough about them. They're not for you. There's no point trying to convert people or hope that they're a different version of themselves. They were probably hiding parts of that in the past. They were trying to make you feel that you could trust them. So believe what you're seeing and be open to evolving and changing, and just keep moving forward on your own path, She actually said something to me, like just tonight, really. Like, how can she know someone won't cheat on her? And I said, that's the risk everyone takes. I said, hopefully, you don't just jump into situations. You literally get to know someone, and then you will get a feeling of, like, at least you know whether you can trust them to a degree. But you can't really go through life expecting everybody to stay together anyway. I think you have to just run the risk sometimes. I said, but, because obviously she's talking from Guy's point of view, like a guy cheating on her. But I said to her, women cheat just as much as guys. there's too many people that do, and it is really hard to find someone that's got their morals intact. Um, but again, what do? You either jump in and out of relationships and continue the roulette, or you're very picky and you start being selective and you set standards in your life. And even then, you can't guarantee it. But at least then you're mitigating the risks. But yeah, you either completely close your heart off and don't allow anyone to betray you ever again, or you allow yourself open to a degree, understanding there is a risk. But then I think what comes from that is not worrying so much about someone staying anyway. Like if someone doesn't want to be here, just let them go. That's one of the hardest parts of life. It really is, especially when maybe you still have loving feelings towards someone, and maybe someone else is flirting with them and things that will trigger emotions in anybody. But again, that's one of the things I'm teaching my daughter. Like, if someone does that, then they've shown you you're not important. You're not as important enough in their life, and you have to accept it. So it's not about being angry at the person, even if there's someone doing everything they can. Let's say you've got an ex-partner, and there's someone else that's doing everything they can to seduce that person just to annoy you, really, and get a reaction. I'd say just leave them to it. I know it hurts, because you have feelings for that person, and you may hate the other person because you know what they're doing. But I would say just leave them to it. They can destroy themselves, but together they can just destroy themselves. And then when it falls apart, and the other one, maybe they didn't get what they want, and they try to be friends with you again, it's like, no, you think I want someone like that in my life? No, I don't need that shit. Thank you very much. Because you have to be confident enough to walk along on your own. Doesn't mean you're going to go through life on your own forever, or it's just set standards though. And then people will know that if they're going to be part of your group and they're going to be friends with you, then they better have high standards too, because the moment they betray you, they're gone. And then people will come correct, and those that can't handle it won't even want to be near you anyway. So because you're setting standards. And it's likewise if the ex partner, for instance, was allows those moments, and they got seduced for a moment, and they realize, wait a minute, this isn't who I want. I miss you. It's like, tough shit. Have some standards in your life. You didn't respect me. I respected you. You couldn't respect me. I don't respect you anymore. Again, these things. It's like, you can't keep attaching ourselves to people, because that's why people keep taking people back. People cheat all the time, and then they turn around and they say something and just make you feel nice because you're really attracted to them. And then you fall back into the same situations. And when I see people do that, I just think you're so stupid. Without being cruel, it's so stupid. You don't think the cycle's going to repeat? They've shown you the first time they don't respect you. What makes you think they're going to respect you in the future? They can respect you when you're no longer around. They can respect you after when you've gone on to live your life. Just, you got to learn to let things go. So there's so much in life we learn, and obviously a lot of it starts at school and things. And it'll continue even after school, and there'll always going to be lessons. And I said that, for instance, to my daughter, that I knew you was going to have to go through things, and I have to sometimes leave you to it. But of course, when you need me, you can just reach out to me. But yeah, there's lessons to learn in life, and you're always going to have something that tests you. It's not always going to be easy, but I always see through people. So when I see people trying to act strong in groups to pick on someone else, I recognize the vulnerability in them and how weak and pathetic they are. I'm not saying that to try and incite a reaction here. I just know. So it's like you could stand there and try to act all big in front of each other, and yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, but deep down you're a very vulnerable, scared person. That away from that group, you wouldn't be able to stand confident like the other person is when they're on their own with that group against them, because you haven't even got you've got an identity crisis. You're so lost. Some of them are so lost they started chasing Satan. Like, how mad is that? You're messed up. It's crazy, isn't it? And it's just, so yeah, it's about overall, it's just about setting standards in our life, and allow people, if they want to be chaotic and disruptive, let them do that shit, because it won't work forever. In your little pocket of society that we call school, maybe you get away with it. Maybe you're popular there, but it's unlikely you're going to be that popular in the big wide world, because that's where the real judgment occurs, isn't it? That's where you've really got to get on. So for instance, you might have something you're really good at, and in a school environment, they might laugh at you, and you might think, oh, I can't stand this, or it might make you feel insecure, and they might think what you do is a joke. But on the outside world, away from that stupid little environment, you'll find people who not only have compassion, They literally embrace and love whatever the talent is. And it's like, well, that's the real people. They're not the sheep, the robots. The robots and the sheep were the ones that were contained in the skull, and it was articulated. It was literally made and sculpted in a way that's artificial. The real world is what matters. And it's outside of those walls, you know? So, like I say, something could be ridiculed in a school environment and you'd think that's outrageous. But on it, in the world, people are a bit more open. So, I see it all the time with social media. There's maybe someone's got maybe they've got a deformity, or, maybe there's a skill that other people might take it for granted, and all these different things. And I see people just absolutely appreciating it. And it's like, this is great, because full well in a school environment, they would be ridiculed. But it's like, who are the people that ridicule? Who the hell are they to judge someone else? Like, what have you, obviously at that age, what the hell have you done with your life? Because obviously at that point, nothing, because you couldn't have done, you haven't had realistically, not saying impossible, but very rare at that point, you've done anything of substance, you've got any life experience, you're just hiding behind any sort of like minimal knowledge you have and trying to come across as more put together or this and that. And it's like, at that age, everybody's evolved, everybody's learning about themselves, and you're learning from others through interactions and things. I think at that stage, if you're an entirely negative person, it doesn't bode well for your future. It really doesn't. People read through that crap. Like I said, you could be popular in school, but people see it all the time. I think most people have seen it who are of a significant age, knows full well the most popular people at school are rarely ever that popular outside of school. It's usually the geeks, the misunderstood people. They're usually the ones that go on and do something substantial with their life. And yet in school, they're ridiculed. It's crazy, isn't it? In a certain bubble of time, which really isn't that significant. It's just a part where it molds us, sculpts us, and helps us think people for who they are and different dynamics. It's a cauldron of chaos, but we learn a lot. And then we go out into the big wide world, and then it's like, what do you want to make of it? And like I said, most of the ones that are entirely negative do absolutely nothing with their life. But yet they think they're cool somehow. It's like, how are you cool? And they're the ones that think they should be famous. They're the ones that think they should be popular. They should be center of attention. It's like, what's interesting about you, though? Oh, you're really, really negative and dark, and that's interesting. That's creepy. It's stupid. It's not interesting at all. So anyway, I could go. I don't want to. I don't want to sort of like drag this out in any way. I just really want to empower people to show them that school is only like a minor part of life, and there's even throughout life you can have people that either misjudge you, or even if they don't misjudge you, it's like, who cares though? Do you know what I mean? Like, I could have opinions on certain things, or I could do something and someone might deem it embarrassing, or people can have opinions one way or another, but they kiss my ass. What do I care? It's opinion. What's that worth? Each of us have our own hobbies, interests, and personalities. And the most important thing for every single one of us is to embrace it and invest in ourselves. And if someone doesn't like it, they're not for you. You can't possibly expect to go through life expecting everyone to like you. So you have to understand there's going to be people that literally, they're going to actually sometimes be completely polar opposite. It's like, that's fine. That's fine. You do you, I do me. But some people just can't get on with life like that. They have to be in everybody's lives, They have to be involved. They have to be noticed. There was a situation, before I wrap up with my daughter, for instance, she was so nervous about sending a message. And you can understand that. Like, she said to me, for someone that doesn't like confrontation, she's rather confrontational. I said, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I said, effectively, you just seek peace. You want peace. It's like it's where it's tranquil. It's where you feel like comfortable. But sometimes you've got to speak up, and there's certain things that bother you in the world. So you're going to talk about it, even though it's going to disrupt your peace, and it's frustrating. But sometimes you've got to talk about topics. You've got to bring things up, and it's going to get reactions. So yeah, you're going to say things sometimes. Maybe you don't really. You don't really seek it, but confrontation will come as a consequence. So I found that quite interesting, to be totally honest. What was the bit there? I was going to say something else. I just can't remember where I was going. Oh, I can't remember now. But I was helping her with the message, and she was with her little messages, because she was trying to figure out how to react to this and do this, and she already had it in her head what she wanted to say. It was articulating it, but she still had it written down. It was just little things I would have changed, because I think it's really important when you're trying to present an argument or you want someone's reaction. Yeah, this is where I was going. it's really important you don't leave things like a lot of ambiguity. See, what you don't want to do is say something and it leaves it open for interpretation, because now people can manipulate that and put a different narrative to it that you didn't mean. So you best be as poignant as you need to be within the message. So she sent a message to someone. They reacted. It was a bit open ended, so she couldn't understand the answer, but I understood what the person was saying to a degree. And the part that she didn't understand, she wanted answers to. And I explained to her, but I know you seek the answers because in your mind, you want all the pieces of the puzzle put together. You want to totally understand all this. But that doesn't mean the other person wants to engage with you, because not everybody, if it's not someone you're now on really, really good terms with, like, you don't need all the answers. It's okay. And she really wants, like, to keep digging. Like, she really wants the answers, but it just makes you look crazy. And I'm like, you don't need the answers though. Like, I know you want it, but you don't need it. So if someone's showing you this and they're saying something specific and you're still questioning, it's okay. Like, it's okay. You can just watch people's behavior towards you, and that will speak a million words. But I understood what the person was saying, and it's just, yeah. But if you're going to leave it open ended, it can make people question things. But then I think you have to understand that sometimes we don't need answers to everything. If you're going to be in a friend group, for instance, yeah, you can have deep, meaningful conversations, and it can go really, really deep. You can get to, like, the deeper meanings to everything in each other's lives. You can really, really unravel. If it's someone who's not really part of your group, and you send a message to them because you just want to get something off your chest, it's like, yeah, you can get something off your chest, and then you just leave it there. So the person then answers you. If they answer you in a way that leaves it open for more conversation, you can either engage again or just stop because you've already said what you have to say. But if they answer in a way that doesn't really leave it open for more conversation, then I think it's fair to say the conversation's ended. You don't need to keep dragging it out, because all that does sometimes, it shows that you're desperate for their attention. You're desperate for them to react. But the reality is, it's like, are you even friends at this point? Especially if it's an ex-partner. It's like, are you still on terms? Like, what's the point? You don't, surely in most situations, you've got to learn to let go. So do you really want an ex to be your friend? Like, is that not going to get messy later? If they're not with you, they're not with you. You have to learn to let the chapter close in your life. So that means, why would you want a deep conversation with them? We have to let it go. So you can get something off your chest, they can react, and then you can say it's closed. It's not about keep dragging it out, because it's like, for what purpose? You don't need to know everything. So, for instance, if someone left and you don't really know why they left, it's irrelevant. Who gives a shit? Like, deep down, like, when it comes down to it, what difference does it make? If they didn't have the decency to tell you before they left, or whatever reason, and all those things, and they haven't done it in the immediate aftermath, it's like, it's not your job to unravel it and get in someone's mind as to why they did it. It's irrelevant. All that matters is you're no longer together. You don't need to know the deeper reasons to all this stuff. It's like, I understand you want it and you seek it, but it's like, you don't need it. It's that closure thing, but people need to learn to find the closure for themselves, and a lot quicker than they usually do. You just got to let it go. Just understand, when someone walks out of your life, that's a conscientious decision on their part. The reasons are irrelevant. All that really matters is they've gone. Okay, I'll continue upon my life in my direction, whatever way that is. I have to adapt. Of course, I'm not saying you're cold-hearted to your point where you don't even have feelings. Of course, you're going to have moments where you reminisce. But I say this, like, in my books in the past, I've said it, where, like in my situation, my ex, you attach the illusion of a soulmate to them, because it's like all your senses go off track, essentially. So, you, like, someone might think you're really wise, you're really smart, but in that situation, why are you so stupid? It's because your, like, heart's got in the way. Your heart, like, it's about attraction. So all of a sudden, your intuitions took a back seat because you're literally infatuated, and you're literally losing all your senses because you literally have just decided this is your person. Like, I'm in love. And now any perception, like, of a soulmate is attached to this person, even if they're not even compatible. So, of course, when they leave, it breaks your heart because you're thinking, that's my person. But as you start healing later on, as you go through your process, you'll start to realize there was actually flaws and defects in the relationship, especially with that person, potentially, that really didn't make them your soulmate. The things that maybe you sought in someone, they didn't actually have. It was an illusion. But it's an illusion that maybe they played up to, but overall it's an illusion you cast upon them. And it's understanding that that was your own fault. So anything they say is going to be irrelevant to the healing process, really. I mean, obviously they could say things, but are they going to be honest? How transparent are they? How much are they hiding? It just leaves more questions than answers. It's like, you don't need it. All you need to understand is that you perhaps made a wrong turn somewhere. Or it might even be that someone left because you did something wrong, or maybe you weren't investing in the relationship. It ain't always about the other person. We reflect on ourselves. Like, could I have done something better? Or all these things. But you don't need the other party to engage with you in that process. And I think that's where too many people go wrong. They're just always seeking validation externally from someone else. You just need to find it from ourselves, So yeah, I'm quite hard on the outside, and I am very quick to get defensive and reactive, like if I want to be. So if I find someone's disrespectful, straight away I flip a switch. Like, I just don't put up with disrespect in my life. You can just go. And there's no point ever trying to be nice to me later, because you've already shown me that you don't respect me. As a consequence, I no longer respect you. It really doesn't matter how much healing you do. I have no interest of you in my life. So it's really about that, isn't it? It's like, be respectful of someone, they'll be respectful of you. Be disrespectful, expect the same in return, but don't expect them to always be compassionate back. So like, you might want someone back later, but it's like, no, I don't forget. So, like I said, I've got a hard shell, and I'm really, really robust with that. I have immense boundaries. It's outrageous, but I have a very soft center. So, when I love someone unconditionally, and I am like whimsical. I can be silly. I can be goofy, and that side comes out with the right people. But it doesn't mean in that situation someone can abuse me, because I just don't put up with it. Doesn't mean you can't have like conflict and argument with someone, as long as it's not spiteful. So you can have issues in your daily life, especially in relationships. But it should not, arguments, for instance, and conversation. It shouldn't get to the point where you're intentionally trying to make the other person cry. You shouldn't be trying to demean someone. And I think once it starts getting spiteful, that's where you've shown an immense disrespect to the other party. And really, if you've shown your character, like how is that love? Like, what is loving about that? Like, how is that love? You can't be demeaning to someone and then cuddle them and tell them you love them. It's like, that's really narcissistic. You can't, you could say it's hot and cold, but it's actually really, really nasty, And I think someone that puts up with that is, you've got to learn boundaries in your life. You shouldn't put up with that. That's not love. Love should be compassionate with each other. It could be like, you can have disagreements, but you shouldn't be doing it. That's a conversation. But in reality, it shouldn't even get that heated where you're shouting. I don't like shouting. It drives me nuts. There's no reason to get like that, where everything just gets like wows. It's like, oh, come on, it's giving me a headache. Keep getting barking louder and louder. Doesn't resolve a situation and doesn't make you any more heard. Getting all tempered like that. It's like, just calm your ass down and just talk properly. If you've got something to say it like a mature adult who can actually handle intelligent conversation, and you can express yourself. But you don't have to start raising your voice and get all hysterical, because that would give me a headache. So I wouldn't be like switching off because I intend to be rude. It's just that it's giving me a headache, and I just can't talk like that. So if you're gonna go mental, you're gonna have to calm down until I can listen, because it hurts my head. And then that'll make, if someone's really pent up angry, my attitude to that is going to really, really trigger them. But I'm not doing it to trigger them. It's just that I don't see the benefit of it. It doesn't make sense. Everything you're saying in a pent up angry way, where you're all hysterical, can be said in a normal fashion, though. I'm not saying you have to be intentionally calm like a freaking lunatic, but you don't have to sort of raise the bar over and over. It doesn't make you any more like strong or more forceful, impactful. It just hurts your head. It's just, shut up. I can't listen if someone does that. It does me head in. So anyway, Anyway, people's perception of love, of course, is going to be different to others, and there'll be people who they will justify situations in their life, and they'll try to pretend it's normal because they consider it normal, and they might think you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I expect in a relationship, and I know the standards I have, and I know how I intend to treat someone else. Because what you expect of someone else is what you should be doing for them, isn't it not? You can't expect it one way and it not the other, So, I just think obviously I've evolved a lot. So I'm not saying I didn't used to argue in the past, but it never got you anywhere, and it was really stupid. And it's just, upon reflection, it used to just give me a headache. and it's for what reason? In arguments, for instance, any argument, for the majority of the time, people rarely take on someone else's viewpoint. So you could argue with someone, it can get heated, and all it does is reach the point where you just want to hurt each other, be spiteful, to make the other person to win an argument, which effectively is to try to demean someone else and try to make them cry. Effectively, a lot of time that's what it comes down to. So when it gets heated, it's like, for what intention is this? Because it certainly ain't through love. If you hate someone that much, don't freaking be in a relationship. So of course it goes all these little things we got to learn in life, of course. But when it full circle, it all comes down to literally ourselves. Like, who are you at your core? Things to heal, things to work on, things for like personal growth, development, make ourselves stronger. Literally see the world for what it is, but also don't lose that light in ourselves. And then you set firm boundaries, and it might be you got to be selective with people in your life. It's like keep your eyes open, you know. So sometimes, you know, there will be times when you can laugh and you can be happy and you can be silly and you can be goofy. But it's like, don't let your guard down, though. And when I said, when someone shows you disrespect, it's like, acknowledge it, not accept it, acknowledge that. And you just don't let it continue. So, like I say, some people, it's like this thing says, isn't it? Like, everybody's got a version of you that exists in their head, and often it's a reflection of how they treated you. So there'll be people who absolutely hate me because they know I don't put up with crap, and I'm pretty relentless, to be honest. So if someone tries to ruin my life, they realize I'm not someone that just sits still. I will speak up on everything, absolutely anything. And I just don't care, because for me, the truth matters more than anything. And I will not be silenced on topics. So you best just not get involved, because otherwise, you know, your name may end up in a book. It may be in a video. I really don't care, because I do it for education, to help people grow from the situations I go through. It's going to be first-hand account stuff. And I won't allow people to try to have one version of me that they try to make public, for instance, that's not true, or not my or doesn't have my, you know, opinion involved, and I will speak on it. So it is what it is. But yeah. So then people like that would absolutely hate me, won't they? Because they'll have a real negative opinion of me, because they think, because they couldn't walk all over you, you're the Antichrist. But then there'll be people who literally see me as a shy ray of light. You know, they know the whimsical side, the silly side, and they love that to come out. Or it might be that the fact that I do speak on topics, it helps reflect in their life, and it's helping them grow. So, like I said, everything's polarizing in life. You could be a ray of light to someone else, an absolute arsehole human being to the next person. It's but again, like I said at the beginning, who cares? Opinions, what does it matter? I know what I'm like on the inside, and I know why I'm stoic and hard on the outside. Life experience. I'm very selective of who comes into my circle now. So I actively don't want everybody to like me. I don't want all that attention around me. So I'm just myself, but only very special people will get the innermost parts of me. So it's reserved for my favorite people, pretty much. Everybody else just gets the professional side. You know, maybe the other side will come out sometimes, depending on environment, depends where I am at in life. But overall, don't owe anyone anything. So anyway, hopefully this has been it's probably gone completely off track, but I hope it's just empowering people. Kind of, it's the whole point in the first place. Like I say, there's people that look down at others, even depending on what side of your journey is. I had people, to be honest, literally laughing at me. I kid you not, but amongst themselves, because I knew they were. When I was doing my first book of Father's Daughter, thinking I won't amount to anything. He doesn't know what he's doing. It'll be rubbish. Blah blah blah. And he's poor. All these things. It's like, poor is a state of mind. Like, what you have, tangible wealth, is irrelevant. Literally, you can have the most corrupt people, the most narcissistic people could be wealthy people. What would you say? That you would love to mirror that? What, just because they have money? Money's illusion. If you're going to be wealthy of mind. So when you think of someone, think about someone who's literally themselves. They're authentic. They have integrity. For me, that's the richest people in the world. I consider myself one of the most richest people in the world. I can't be bought. I can't be manipulated. So I really appreciate who I am. There's no financial number that can literally acquire me in any way like that, you know? So, and then I think, what have I done? Well, I think I've done something quite remarkable that will actually be there long after I'm here on Earth. And there's more books to come, and I've done my videos. I talk publicly. I use my name. I don't hide. You know, there's a lot of people out there that act confident, but they don't even use their real name or their real or they use their face or anything. You know, they hide in the shadows. I don't hide. I'd say that shows a confidence, doesn't it? I think personally. So I think that if you take away the finances, I'm pretty proud of my legacy and what I've done with my life. So really, well, someone else's opinion on that is really irrelevant, because again, you could ask, what have you done? It's not competition, but really the ones that come against, the ones that got opinions, it's like, based on what though? What have you done? I'm not interested in money. It's like, what have you done? And who are you at your core? There's a lot of people, maybe they just do loads of overtime at jobs and they've stayed the same job for 20 years and that's their legacy. And it's like, yeah, but that's forgettable. As soon as you leave, they replace you. And maybe you're on a conversation for maybe a couple of days after you've left, up to a week. They soon forget you. And it's the same when we die, you know, people they mourn you, they cry, they get upset and they have memories. It soon fades. Most things are forgettable. So effectively, the things that are important is keeping your integrity, staying true to yourself. That really matters more than anything. And of course, if you have a talent, a skill that could be left behind for the next generations, I think that's quite beautiful too. So I'm not trying to posture above people, but I'm thinking from my own legacy and what I've invested in, I think I've done bloody well. So I don't care about the money side of it. So people could maybe laugh at my expense, try to make a joke of it. And it's like, yeah, based on what? What's there to laugh at? Money. Who gives a shit? Money comes, money goes. You know, once you sell your soul, you're doomed anyway. That's nothing I would never do. So anyway, not to compare with people or do any of that crap. But as you can see, I beat to my own drum. I'm confident just to go through this life solo if need be. You know, I don't mind. Like I say, people come, people go. It's part of life. If you don't take it personally, it's fine. That's the thing, isn't it? I think the problem is other people sometimes take it personal. But I understand that it's usually a mutual exchange. So people in your life, they learn from you, you grow with them, whatever it is, you know, there's usually, maybe there's been a collaboration, maybe there's been an experience here, but you're in it together. You know, you don't owe anyone anything. I think one of the most important things in life, though, is being transparent. So don't do things for someone and then expect something from them in return that they never offered because you feel they owe you. No, that's underhanded. If you do something for someone, that's a kindness if you're doing it out of nothing in return. But to expect something after is incredibly manipulative. Like if you expected something in return, you should have made that clear before you do something or offer something. Because they only have yourself to blame when you're disappointed. So, like again, it's all about integrity, being honest, of authenticity. For me, they're the biggest values ever. You know, it's really rare you can trust someone in this life. It really is. I think it's really important that you literally hold yourself accountable to start with. Because otherwise, what hope is there? I saw something the other day, and it said you get lost, you get fed up with humanity, you get fed up with like the way life is. You sometimes lose hope. You know, that it's just a lost cause. But they said, look in the mirror. And I thought that was in the sense that in the mirror, there is hope for humanity because there's you. All the things you hate in humanity is like, it's not who you are though. You know, so people cheat. I don't cheat. People are corrupted. I'm not corrupted. People literally, they give into temptation and things and they can literally be sellouts. I never sell out. I don't do anything to do any of that, you know? So all the things I hold myself true to, it shows it exists because I exist. And it can't be just me. So although I lose hope in humanity, it's quite interesting. They said, look in the mirror and you see, and you know, then there's hope. And I thought, touche. That's actually quite interesting. Yeah. Because it can't be, can it? It can't just be like one person exists and they like literally have integrity and everything. Some people just say they got integrity and they ain't got nothing, you know, but you can see it. So anyway, This isn't about convincing anyone. It's just a reflection of life and showing that people project, people judge, and usually it's those who haven't amounted to anything and perhaps won't. Like I said at the beginning, you've got the people that are just drunks and all that shit, and it's like they go through life like that, and then they end up having mental breakdowns and things, because they just never took life seriously, or they just never took, challenged themselves. They always took the easy way out, thinking life's a jolly and it's a joyride. And then when life gets a bit challenging, they can't handle it. And maybe they can't handle loneliness, because that's another problem. But again, you've got to find yourself to figure yourself out. Then you can be independent. That absolute attachment to people and that being terrified of being alone is something everybody needs to heal. You can't go through life expecting everybody to sort of like be around you, and you're terrified of being alone. That's an immense weakness to carry. It really is. Once you're comfortable being alone, you haven't got anything to lose, and then you set your standards. So it's really important. Otherwise, where's your standards come from? Because you'll always give in. That's the real problem, and that's where the weakness comes. Because then you always give in because you're terrified of someone not liking you or not being accepted and things. It's like, so then how the hell can you ever be authentic? How can you ever be true to yourself when you're worried about not fitting in? It doesn't work. So you've got to be prepared to just be yourself, and people either accept you for who you are or they don't. And if they don't, they're not for you. So it doesn't really matter if they don't like you. So like I said with my daughter, with some of the idiots at school, it's like, if I was there, I'd just go and do one. Who gives a shit? Go and laugh like a freaking bunch of hyenas if it makes you feel strong. You're obviously thick as shit. So I say I'm a bit more direct, and I really don't care. Such is life. But anyway, hopefully it empowers people. That's what I just want. That's all I really want to do. Then I just shut off and just go on my own life. That's why I really don't give a shit about comments. I was talking to my daughter about comments earlier, actually, weirdly enough. I said the real problem is most people, not everybody, but there's a lot of people who are too immature to handle literally an exchange of conversation, and at least having the decency to be respectful in a comment. And I don't let people just spew negativity everywhere. I think there's enough negativity in this world. I'm not allowing my platform to be a place where people are just going to start shitting everywhere. And do that in your own space. I ain't doing it around my content. Because effectively, you can see the content and then you just get on with your life. You don't need to interact. I don't understand that need to do so. I don't go comment. It's just how I am. I don't go comment on other people's stuff. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy it. I'll watch something and I like it. Usually it's sports and things, to be told. It's on gaming stuff. It's not usually on deep stuff. I've got enough of that in my own life. But I don't feel a need to interact. I just watch it, enjoy it, move on. I think this, like I said, I think that's that independent side of me, though. I think there's too many people who seek attention and validation. So they want to comment. It's like, need to grow from that. So I think me disabling the comments in general, I think that forces people to sort of like accept that. Because I bet it's triggering to some people. I bet there's some people desperately want to have their voice heard and they want to say something. But I bet it really annoys them they can't do it. And I just think, well, that's something to work on, isn't it? You need to work on that. You don't need to. You really don't. You just need to just get on with your life and don't feel like you need validation all the time. And if you really, 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 really want to say something, create your own content. Stop hiding in the comment sections of stuff because it's pointless. Anyway, that's my little video there. I may end up taking a break, to be honest, because I just want to. I've got things to do. I really want to get. I want to get a next book done by the end of the year. I keep talking about it and I've been delaying it. I won't going to bother, but I feel like I owe it to myself to try to do something to get it done. So it's something significant this year. I want to be able to be proud in that sense. We'll see. I will see where my mind goes. I also want to relax more. I want to just chill out now and just enjoy it. It's getting autumn now, isn't it? I want to start getting more into my gaming and just relax, watch some more, catch up on plenty more films, embrace my TV, just little things really. So, I'm not saying the videos won't come along, but if they go dry, it's because I'm literally enjoying it. I'm just relaxing and doing other things. But anyway, hopefully, because this will be a good video to finish on, to be totally honest. But I'm sure there'll be more content. But if not, I'm happy.